Welcome to this thought for the day for Friday, which is of course the 75th anniversary of VE Day. And today we have a passage which is set in the lectionary, Psalm 33, and I'm going to read from verse 1. Sing joyfully to the Lord, you righteous, it is fitting for the upright to praise him. And then from verse 12. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. From heaven the Lord looks down and sees all mankind. From his dwelling place he watches all who live on earth. He who forms the hearts of all, who considers everything they do. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by his great strength. A horse is a vain hope for deliverance. Despite all his great strength, it cannot save. For the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death and keep them alive in famine. We wait in hope for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. In him our hearts rejoice, for we trust in his holy name. May your unfailing love rest upon us, O Lord, even as we put our hope in you. VE Day was a time of great celebration, of parties and of bonfires, and I remember as a tiny child being taken to a bonfire which had been set up on a piece of green space close to where we lived, and I remember being told that it was because it was VE Day, though I had no idea what that meant. And today, if we hadn't been in lockdown, there would be all sorts of celebrations taking place nationally and locally, street parties and special events in pubs and so on. And as we celebrate, it's easy to look back and remember what a great nation we are and how well we did, and of how we drew together in our time of need, and of how we were resourceful to overcome evil. And all of that is, of course, true. In every village and town throughout the land there's a war memorial, and many of those war memorials are in the form of a cross, and very few of them do not have a cross built into their design. And that cross is a reminder of the principle of the passage that we've just read, that it is in God that we find salvation and strength, that he has the power to save. As a nation, we overcame what was palpable evil and were saved. And it was in God's grace that that took place. And we're invited not to forget it. We've just been reading in our daily readings at home some passages from Joshua. And in Joshua, we read of how they crossed the River Jordan to take Jericho. And when they crossed the Jordan, God held back the waters to enable them to cross on dry land. And Joshua was invited by God to get the people to pick up 12 great stones, one for each tribe of Israel, and to set them up as a pile on the bank of the River Jordan, as a lasting memorial. And when children asked, what's this pile of stones about? Then they were to be told of the way in which God had enabled them to enter the promised land, and the way in which he'd saved them from the tyranny of Egypt. The passage we've read reminds us that God is the one who has the power to save. The Israelites were continually being invited to remember, and so often they forgot. And we on this VE Day are invited to remember the grace of our God, to not put our trust in our own strength, but to know that ultimately He is the one who has the power to give us victory. So let us be a people who remember and do not forget. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by his great strength. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love to deliver from death. Have a great day.